they taught me nice. I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights. Better get right, I'm champion. The game is in trouble, I've been in my depth for the piece of the puzzle, I got it for real. Still keep me going, I wake up and hustle, you won't see me buckle, I've been in the field. Man of the town, you been in your fields, I'm adjusting this crown. Call me your majesty, either that or your tragedy, we shutting everything down. I've been high like somebody put a candle on them. Off top, I don't really stand opponents, this mine. The moment is run out and start a bunch of pandemonium. More game, I got some, the skill is bar one, y'all done, the game in the coffin. Referee screen, rest in peace, and think twice if you next to me, it's West. This ain't no regular thing, I came for the ring, you know what I mean. I shoot my shot and it's clean, this for my city, yeah, this for my team. If you talking, it's taught me nice. I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights, better get right, I'm champion.
Mailbox Sports, Postman 1914, and I have a question for all you NBA fans. Is the 65-game rule about to decide the MVP race? I don't know, but it surely will have an effect on it. Let's get into it. In years past, the MVP debate was surely and solely about production and team success. Now, availability is the first filter. Don't know how we got to that, but we're here now. A player could have the best season in basketball, but if he finished with 64 games, count it, 64 games played, automatically out. And so that brings us to the candidates that I think best represent the NBA MVP. At the same time, we look at games played and see just how in jeopardy they are of being disqualified from winning the award. Candidate breakdowns. Does Shai Gilgeous-Alexander still control the MVP race? Yeah. Averaging, I think, 31 points, 31-6 or something like that. Efficiency is at maximum level. Just broke Wilt Chamberlain's record for 20-point games scored consecutively. 172, don't quote me, but I might be right. And Oklahoma City has been basically atop the standings all season long. Most importantly, he has already played close to 60 games. He would need to miss, I think, about 13 more games of the season to fall below the threshold. That would probably make him the most safe. Not probably. He is absolutely the most safe candidate to win the MVP race. And while it is largely assumed that skill could have Shai repeat, injury and availability may be the catalyst for a repeat in MVP. But not so fast. Let's get to our next candidate. Is Nikola Jokic in danger of losing MVP because of games played? Plain and simple, yes. And this is probably, I think, the biggest storyline in the MVP race. He is averaging nearly a triple-double, 28-6, 28-6, I should say, almost 29 points a game, 12.6 rebounds a game, 10.4. Hell, he is averaging a triple-double, and it is a high-rate one, but he's missed a severe chunk of games. My apologies. Don't know how we got there. But just like I stubbed my toe, he's hurt that knee. And for him to qualify, Denver has, I think, roughly 20 to 23 games left. He got to play all of them. Nearly. That's what his eligibility hinges on. And I think that's why it makes him pretty much a count out. Disqualification simply because of games missed. Because I think if you want to put it into a percentage, he may have about 20%, 1 in 5, of continuing to play all of those games needed to qualify because of the games he's missed already. Not looking good for the Joker, but he might just have that big Joker in his back pocket, and if he's able to go ahead and play a large majority, if not virtually all of those games, still has a chance to go ahead and claim some of that particular hardware that he has already laid claim to in the past. Next up, a newcomer into the MVP race. Could Cade Cunningham become the surprise MVP of the NBA? Why do we do it every day? Hey. Because he might be the biggest beneficiary of the rule. Cunningham's averaging 25 points, nearly 10 assists a game. Detroit is resurgent in the last 2 years. This year, actually leading the NBA Eastern Conference, atop Dallas and everything else. Not Dallas, Boston. What are we doing today? We becoming ineligible to be a YouTube host. That's what we doing. Just like they missing games, we are missing frames, but we're going to get it together and realize that if Joker and SGA slows down on the pace, Cunningham suddenly becomes the favorite. Right now, I think, like I said, third on that list, and very notable to think of when you're the third best player in the league, according to many, and according to your accomplishments, at least how the award used to go. The probabilities for you being eligible, very high, about 95%. He's on comfortable pace to play at least 70 games at that particular pace right there. Just don't take your foot off the gas, and he would be just fine to be able to cross that threshold. But this guy that we talk about next, this guy is the guy that I think, even if it don't happen this year, in the next two, this guy's going to be the face of the NBA and the MVP. The French sensation, Victor Wembanyama. Is Wemby close enough to the threshold? This year, yes. Surprisingly, yes, he is. But barely. Wemby's missed games due to load management and minor injuries. Now, I understand in his youth, they want to go ahead and do something like a game management, preserve his body, let him learn how to grow into it so that he doesn't suffer the fates of a Yao Ming, of a Sean Bradley, all of those guys who are super tall and have to adjust to carrying the weight of their bodies. So I do believe that they have a plan, at least at the meantime. And so, as much as he is barely in contention, if he plays most of those remaining games that they have, which I think is still, everyone's in that 20 to 23 game range, he could finish with about 60 to 69 games played. And if he does that, 65 is what you need. Eligible he is indeed. And I think that would be, let's say 70%, 7 out of 10. He got a legit chance to do that because they are even managing his minutes in games. So oftentimes you might see either they try to put teams away very quickly, or sometimes he only plays maybe 20 minutes a game, and that particular triple-double threat that he could be day in and day out is kind of affected, and his effective averages per game are down only because of the load management and things of that nature, or they could be, I would project, exorbitantly more high and with better efficiency. His team is in the second or third spot in the West right now, don't get me wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong as well. But I think that gives Victor Wembanyama a perfect even threshold to be able to sneak in and claim a very youthful NBA MVP and possibly usurp the youngest in NBA history. I'm going to reserve judgment on that. Shout out to D Rose, and I'm kind of being biased. I hope he don't get it. Next on our list, because we're going to get into what I classify as the honorable mention candidates. These are guys I really don't think have the best chance, but they still have an elite chance due to the fact that the occupancy rule in terms of availability, a lot of guys won't cross that 65 game threshold, and if that happens, these guys shoot up the standards and have an opportunity to go right ahead and do exactly what I think, which is to clutch above their head the MVP award. Jaylen Brown, let's talk about him. Nearly 29 points a game, carrying Boston, while Jason Tatum has been recovering from the ACL surgery. Jason did just return, but Jalen has been the lifeblood of the team. Celtics are number 2 in the East, so near the top of the East anyway. Games played, real safe. If I had to guess, I'd say, well, I can't give him 100, but 95%, he's pretty safe on the game threshold. I think that his performance is not to the level of the guys I mentioned above him to get him there, but he has a chance. Also, we talk about guys, when we talk about the 65 threshold, these are the guys I think are most at risk for missing that. And that would be the guy that I talked about with Nikola Jokic. That would be Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is not a guy I thought would be an MVP conversation at this stage in his career, but he has stabilized Houston in a way that allows them to be serious contenders in the West. Luka Doncic, really don't think that the team success keeps him high above trying to go ahead and compete for MVP this year. I think once the LeBron train leaves the building, he'll get back to that. I digress. And borderline, like I said, Victor Wembanyama. So just to talk about those guys, even if 2 of those players fall short, I think it dramatically changes the MVP race. Popularity, story, and narrative goes a long way in that vote, in my estimation. Somebody falls off and somebody you like is a little bit better, creeping up that ladder, they might get that first place vote. So my final predictions, I think, and we won't forget about this guy called Ant-Man. In the West, his team is still competitive highly. I don't think that Ant and the team individually would vault him into the discussion. But, I think that in the upcoming years, a guy like him, Wembanyama, and maybe a couple other young guns can kind of help Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to keep the MVP consistency and continuous domination of individual players afloat. So I think that it'd be unfair to not mention Ant-Man. But I think, as it stands, SGA wins the award. League leading scorer and efficiency, best record, clearly above the threshold. No concerns when we talk about availabilities. If Jokic can play those 20 to 23 games, the race is 50-50 if you ask me. And it may be 51-49 for Joker, because I told you that triple-double that he is putting up every game is masterful. Not to mention he has some like electric ones when we talk about the 40, 20, and 10 types. He got all varieties, all flavors of triple-doubles, and he do this thing like it's what he's supposed to do. So watch out for the Joker if he can go ahead and pull that last trick out. Final prediction, like I said, is SGA, because I do not, unfortunately, I don't think Joker's going to get there. But if you have a different opinion about those candidates, if you think the MVP race will not be decided strictly on eligibility, and you got something to add to the discussion, drop your comments below. Like the content, share with anybody you know that is a sports fan, especially NBA sports, and go ahead and drop that subscribe for your boy. Hit those playlists, get those watch hours, catch up on old times, and see how far the channel has progressed. This is Postman 1914. We are talking MVP eligibilities based on that whole game of attrition. Can you meet the 65 game threshold? Mailbox Sports, Postman 1914.